and some of our capabilities. So what is fiber Bragg grating sensors? So fiber Bragg grating sensors actually work by reflecting specific wavelength of light based on the periodic variations in the fiber's core refractive index. That is, when it is based on it is sensitive to strain and temperature, and it is based on Bragg's law. So this is actually the fiber. This is a fiber core, if you can see. And when a light ray passes through it, it goes due to the internal reflection. It travels through the fiber core. Now, if we introduce some kind of imperfections in the fiber which acts as a mirror, right? A periodic mirror. We introduce some kind of imperfections or the grating in the structure which acts as a periodic mirror. So whenever the light passes through it, some of it is reflected back and some of it is transmitted. I can explain more with this video. If you see that whenever there is a light which is passing through the core of the fiber, because of the grating structure here, some of the light is transmitted in this entire spectra and some of it is reflected back. So this is the reflected spectra. What we are concerned with, only the reflected spectra and not the transmitted spectra. Now we have an interrogation system which tells us what is the wavelength of the reflected spectra. Now this is sensitive to both strain and temperature. So whenever this is subjected to strain, just a minute, whenever this is subjected to any kind of strain, the reflected spectra shifts. If we measure the shift in the reflected spectra and calibrate it with the applied strain, then we can understand what is being induced in the structure. Similarly, for temperature also, it is sensitive to temperature, and whenever there is an increase or decrease in temperature, there will be a shift in the wavelength, and by interrogating this shift in the wavelength, we can understand what is the temperature increase or decrease. One of the advantages of fiber Bragg grating sensors is that it can be multiplexed. What is multiplexing? It can be a number of sensors can be inscribed in one single fiber, so that each reflected wavelength will have a different each will have different reflected spectrum of wavelength. So whenever there is a light will pass through and there is temperature increase, for each of the sensors there will be a different shift. So we can say that there are multiple sensors in one single grating, one single fiber. So that is the advantage of a fiber Bragg grating sensor. There are various ways in which we can introduce this kind of imperfections in the fiber, this periodicity. One is the femtosecond laser grating writing system. This is a representative image. And another one is the UV phase mask system, both of which are available at our institute. What are the advantages of the sensor? It is a passive sensor element. There is chemical inertness. It is resistant to radiation and corrosion. It has high sensitivity. The smallest depends upon the interrogation system, but we can measure one microstrain, which is very small, that is, which is equivalent to 1.2 picometer. And in terms of wavelength, it is lightweight. It is just a fiber with some kind of packaging, and it is, most importantly, it is immune to the electromagnetic interference. So in cases where we require high voltage lines or in very harsh environment where there is electrical sensors are not able to uh, the- sense different parameters, fiber Bragg grating sensors can be a good fit. Also, there is a real kind of problem that electrical sensors have a lot of cabling. So if you want one sensor, there will be two cables which will coming out. One is the input and the other is the output. But you can say this is a 16 sensors, 16 electrical sensors, right? So this many cables. The same thing here, we have 16 sensors, one single cable which is going in and one single cable which is going out. So basically, we can have 16 sensors in one fiber, which reduces a lot of cabling, and that helps a lot in the real world applications because to accommodate cabling, a lot of space is required, and sometimes in civil infrastructure, in dams, in bridges, this kind of space or this kind of logistics are not available. So in that case, the fiber Bragg grating sensors can be a good fit, right? So this is a sensor project which we are doing. We have different type of sensors: vibration sensor, strain sensor, displacement sensor, and tilt sensor. This four kind of fiber Bragg grating sensors, and the application areas are given: bridges, railways, pantographs mean railway pantograph, and buildings. we have the TRL level, and the benchmark is that because electrical sensors are very readily available and very cost effective, so our benchmark is that this performance should be at least equal to or better than the electrical sensors. So that is our benchmark which we are targeting. Um, in this case, in the research highlights, what I will do is I will show you some of the case studies which we have already completed, right? So how we get to the sensors, how we design the sensors, and how we apply it to the real world applications. So this case study is actually fiber Bragg grating sensor for blast pressure monitoring. This is a pressure sensor. The collaborator was TBRL Chandigarh, and the key highlights were that we were given the target specification that it should measure the pressure of 30 bar, and the resonant frequency of the sensor should be at least 300 kilohertz, or it should be capable of measuring 300 kilohertz. So what we did is this was the sensor which we built. This is the sensor, the green one, and this is a pencil probe. This is a very standard structure which is used for mounting sensors in case of blast monitoring because of its aerodynamic property. So our task was to design this sensor according to the target specifications which are given. So for that, we used abacus, we used the finite element method, and we built a pencil probe and did a static analysis of the pressure. In addition to it, we also simulated the blast wave, which with this model, this is conventional weapons model, it's an available model in abacus, and it is used to predict the blast loads and effects from conventional, that is non-nuclear explosives like TNT. So you can see that whenever we have modeled this, this is actually the result which we get. This is the sensor diaphragm. So this is where the maximum pressure is reached, right? This is the point where the sensor is subject to the maximum pressure. So you can see this is the surface element, and each of it is reaches the maximum overpressure simultaneously. So these are the elements, and you can understand that whenever there is a blast is coming, so it is reaching here and then it is passing through the sensor. So that is what we are getting here, and this is the visual representation of that, of the simulation. This is the sensor which we designed, and with the resonant frequency of 230 kilohertz and the strain of 41 to 53 micrometer per meter for 30 bars. And this is what we fabricated. This is the diaphragm sensor, this sensor which we push button sensor which we put, and this is the pencil probe which also we fabricated, and we inserted the sensor, and it was tested at TBRL successfully. This was one case study. After this, we looked into here. I will start. This slide was only to understand, to make you understand that how we achieve the design of a sensor. In the upcoming slides, I will describe some of the successful case studies which we did under our census project. So the first one which we did was the structural health monitoring of a metro rail viaduct. This is at Ruby Metro. It was done last year, and what we did was we benchmarked it with the electrical accelerometers which were mounted. The collaborator was Emil India. So the FBG accelerometer had a resonant frequency of 460 and a sensitivity of 156 picometer per G. In terms of microstrains, it will be around 140 microstrains per G. G is the acceleration due to gravity. And the piezoelectric sensors had a sensitivity of 100 microvolts per G. So this is the schematic diagram. The sensors were placed side by side, 1 and 2, and it was placed. These are the interrogator system, and this is where we place the sensor at a distance of 50 meters. And this is the actual real life photograph of the metro rail viaduct. And we found some of the time domain and frequency domain signals. So we recorded the time domain signals. This is the accelerometer signal. And since there were a number of electrical sensors, these are all the time domain signals for the electrical sensors. That is acceleration versus time. So this black one is corresponding to our sensor. Then we convert it into frequency domain signals to understand what are the dominant frequency in the bridges. In the hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, you're audible, ma'am.
Yes, yes. I think someone was saying something. I'm not sure.
Dear participants, kindly mute yourself.
Right. So Right. So we converted the time domain signals into frequency domain signals to understand what are the dominant frequencies when the train is passing through the bridge. And we could find that there are some low frequencies and some higher frequencies. So if you can see that this is the signature of the electrical accelerometers, and this is the signature for the fiber optic sensors. So in both of them, you could see that. Uh, Hello, can you please mute yourself?
Mr. Arun, kindly mute yourself. Mr. Arun Babu, Mr. Arun Babu, kindly mute yourself.
Okay, so I'll move on. I don't think they're able to hear anyways. Okay, so in this case, we can see that some of the lower frequencies are activated and some of the frequencies in the range of 40 is activated. In the electrical accelerometers, we can see that similar kind of signature is reached, right? We can get the similar kind of signature that here also 40 to 50 hertz of frequencies are activated when the train is moving. That is, if we, in a layman's language, we can understand it that whenever the train is passing, the viaduct is vibrating at a frequency of 40 to 50 hertz. And what are these low frequencies which we are able to capture with the FBG sensors but not with the electrical sensors? These low frequencies are correspond to the bridge initial inherent vibration mode, that is the modal frequency of the bridges. So if you see this is a video which we recorded. So if you see whenever the train is passing, and this is the signal. The train is passing through the station, and we can understand this is the time domain signal which we get. So what we did was we collected this time domain signal and we analyzed uh, what are the dominant frequencies. So what we can find here, there are two lessons which we took from here. The first thing is that our sensor was more sensitive and it could detect the modal frequencies of the bridge also in addition to the activated frequency due to the train movement. Second is that our sensor, FBG sensor, which we built at the lab, was equivalent in performance to the commercial electrical sensor. So that was a win. Next is the railway asset monitoring. So this was done in collaboration with Structural Engineering Research Council (SERC). So for that, we had a strain sensor here. This is the strain sensor, and this is a mounting package. You can see. So what we did is there are two ways which we handle this sensor. The first way is that we mounted it in this bridge, this railway bridge, and we whenever the train is passing, we try to understand what is the strain which is coming. This was done at the Mangalore railway bridge. Next is that with this special kind of mounting structure, we mounted it under the railway track, and we could successfully detect from the sensor signal the bogie load, the wheel counting, and the speed of the train. So in this in this video, you can see that this is the electrical sensor, and this is the strain sensor, our FPG strain sensor. And whenever the train is passing, this is where our FPG strain sensor is installed. So you can see that both of them are giving equivalent signals, and here also we benchmarked it under against electrical sensor and found to be performing equally, right? Yeah. Uh, so next, we move on to the breakout detection in billet cluster. So this is one of the success stories which we have. This was done in collaboration with Tata Steel. So breakout is when the liquid steel from inside of the breakout, from inside of a mold, it breaks out before it solidifies. So this is a steel plant. So when there is here steel plant. So this is a success story. The patent has been granted, the TOT has been done, and a vendor is in process of development who will take this system forward for commercialization, who is being groomed by Tata Steel. So we have a published a paper also with actually Tata Steel has published a paper, and where they have acknowledged the contributions of CGCRI in this process, in understanding this process, and for the sensor development here. Next is the vibration monitoring of stator end winding electrical generations. This is in turn with the collaboration with NTPC. So in a thermal power plant, we have very stator end windings of electrical generator is there. And it is subjected to because the entire generator, we have a small generator, it vibrates. So whenever you can understand that whenever there's an electrical generator, how much vibration it will be. And because of this end windings, they come out, and then the machine stops. It has to be maintained, it has to be repaired. So what we did here also, the drawback was that electrical sensors could not be used, because again this is an electrical generator and there will be EMI interference and it will not give the correct signal. So for this, what had been done is that 16 vibration sensors, FBG vibration sensors, and one signal processing system has been deployed in a thermal power plant in NTPC for an electrical generator. And it has, these are the signals which we get. So wherever they find that the vibration is above a safety limit, they can stop it right there, and then they can go for maintenance. They can tighten the windings and prevent untimely catastrophic failure. Here also vendor development is there. SFO Technologies is associated with us in the electronics part, and IRD Mechanalysis Pune is very interested in the system. We are in process of a TOP transfer. Next is that instrumented pantograph. The instrumented pantograph is basically what we have at the top of a railway. Uh, so it's a generally a electrical collector, right? So because of this, the overhead catenary, the electric charge flows, and because the pantograph is in contact with the overhead charge line, the train moves. So in many European countries and even in other Asian countries like Japan, we have a automated system, an instrumented pantograph, so that they can understand when there is a sag in the line, when there will be a strain will be more, when the contact force is not enough. So but India we do not have. So what we do is we periodically we go and tighten it, and obviously it is a manual maneuver, and that is why it is subjected to a lot of hit and misses. So in that case, what we tried is that we tried for an instrumented pantograph, we have multi-parameter. This is a multi-parameter measurement of strain sensors, and multiple strain sensors are mounted, and one displacement sensor. So this displacement sensor is basically to measure the height of the pantograph, so that when there is a excessive sag in the catenary, so that the current does not flow smoothly and it breaks, so the strain is halted. So to understand that, we have a displacement sensor. So whenever the height is below a certain, the sag is below a certain height, with their signal will be sent, and with that, an automatic maintenance can be initiated. Similarly, with this multiple sensors, we can understand this pantograph does not remain stationary. It does not remain at one point. It is a stagger. It keeps on moving, so that there is equal wear of the carbon strip. This is the carbon strip. So in order to for that, there should be a contact force and the contact location. So whenever the contact force is above a force, there is a chance of short circuiting. The contact location also, we can understand if there is an anomaly. For that, there is a electrical the strain sensors are put at multiple levels. It is a multi-parameter model. You can see this is live testing which we did at Boj from Shialda to Boj, 50-kilometer line, and it gave us good results. This one was done in collaboration with Sandrock Enterprises in the phase one. In phase two, we are developing sensors according to the requirement of RDSO, which is the research wing of the railways, which where contact where stagger height, thickness, gradient, setting distance, contact force, contact loss, when the contact is lost, body vertical acceleration and tilt. These parameters are to be measured. Next is so these are some of the studies which we had. So all this culminated in some of our sensors which are ready and which can be commercialized. So these are some of the FPG accelerometers. Uh, were two sensors for one for 40G and other for 50G. Frequency range is 700 and 800 hertz. FBG strain sensors. So this is for measurement range of 0 to 5,000 microsecond. Both of them, these are different modules. One is the bellow module, another is a flexible long gauge module, and third is a displacement sensor. This is a rod type displacement sensor, and it has an accuracy of 200 micrometers, and the sensing length is 4 to 5 millimeters, right? Then the future vision. Okay, so we come to the future vision. So all of the sensors we have tested it, validated it at lab level. We have provided turnkey solutions to different industries, different infrastructure. So what is the next step? The next step is to build an ecosystem for the FBG sensors so that it can penetrate the Indian market. So the next step is the Center of Excellence for FBG sensors. So we have a project, the CMS project, which promotes skill development, vendor development, good manufacturing practices, a startup ecosystem, certification and standardization, and interdisciplinary research in this FBG sensors. So what we are looking for is to commercialize the FBG sensors with local vendors, with sister laboratories, and also with the government, with Mighty itself. Mighty is actually funding this project. Why is it relevant and why is it important? Because FBG industry is greenfield in India. It does not have any Indian players. All of the players are European or American, and you can see that the global FPG market is by 2025 is 0.83 billion, and all of the sensors which are used, and FPG is widely used in India in different high-end research projects. You can see a lot of FPG sensors being used, and all of them are imported. So this is a very lucrative field in which indigenously developed FPG can do a lot of import substitution, save a lot of money. So that is why it is relevant now in the global scenario. Opportunities for collaboration. We are already collaborating with sister laboratories like mining lab, that is Simford, with SCRC, which is a structure, and CBRI, which is basically structures and buildings, and NML, which is metallurgical laboratory. For process monitoring and structural health monitoring, we have some participating industry partners also. Sandrock is there, SFO Technology, Emil, Omega Equipments, and our stakeholders are Tata Steel, Indian Railways, NTPC, BHEL. We have, this is a Mighty project. This entire thing is funded by Mighty, and we have a supporting agency also, Webel, for its promotion in West Bengal. It is aligned with the national goals of Skill India. It will upskill people, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and Make in India. Uh, why we need collaboration? Because FBG sensors is a multidisciplinary field. We have this chart will give an idea about what kind of interdisciplinary fields which we need. The first is the basic working principle, that is the fiber optics, which we have. Material science fabrication, we have mechanical and structural engineering for the design, optimization, and packaging. That also we have at a lab level, but we need collaborations for electronics and signal processing and data mining and analytics, so that the sensing applications, the sensors are IoT enabled. So to give a real time monitoring. So that is where we need collaboration, this last two parts. These are the signal processing units at lab level at which we had developed for high frequency and low frequency signals. And our requirements is that we need that software for FBG interrogator with GUI interface and IoT based FBG data handling. So these fields are where we need collaboration. Also, we are also collaborating, need some other, there are some other avenues also where collaboration can happen, that is through grant challenge problem. to establish grand challenge is basically to establish a collaborative framework in this project. And there are two work packages. One is the FPGA evaluation board, and second is a prototype wired wear monitoring system. So both of these are there, and we are working towards it so that we can get suitable players to help us in this, so that FPG sensors can be commercialized. Some of the infrastructure which we have at our laboratory is the grating writing system. The calibration facilities are there for displacement till strain and accelerometers, where we give measured parameters, measured displacement we give, and we understand what is the wavelength, we record what is the wavelength shift, and then we find the calibration equation with the regression. And with that calibration equation, when we place the sensor in that or real light, if we see the wavelength shift, we can understand that this is actually the strain or the displacement which is there. So that is the calibration. And technical support which we offer is that FBG turnkey solutions, end-to-end solutions for various problems of structural health monitoring and process monitoring. This is our department. Acknowledgement to all the members, basically, and mainly to our ex HOD, because he had been instrumental in formulating and driving this